This is Learning as We Go, a podcast hosted by a married couple raising our family in Indianapolis. Just trying to make it all make sense because I don't know about y'all, but we don't have all the answers. I'm Kendra Rim.
And I'm Shay Rim. This podcast is a way to share our experiences as we navigate millennialhood, adulthood, parenthood, all the hoods really. We still got a lot to learn and a lot to say.
We definitely do. I'm ready to get into it.
Let's get it. Good morning.
Good morning, my love. How are you?
Good morning, honey. I'm okay.
You okay? You slept good?
I'm all right. It's our first time doing this.
Yeah. I'm excited. Are you excited?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm excited.
That's all that matters. A little nervous. A little nerves are okay, I think.
Yeah.
It's healthy.
This format a little different. Lots of cameras pointed at us, but like we supposed to have an intimate conversation. YouTube is a little bit different because when you're making YouTube videos, you know the camera's there and you acknowledge it and you just look straight into it.
You're supposed to just like talk right to it.
But this is different because we're supposed to just look at each other and act like they're not there. So anywho.
Yeah. We'll get the hang of it, I hope.
Yeah.
Okay, well I think we should just jump right in since the title of this episode is Why We Left Atlanta.
Yes.
We want to start the episodes off with a question of the show, which the name is still under construction, the segment, but the question of the show will essentially just be something that's related to the topic of the show. So for this one, what is the question of the show?
Question of the show, we'll name this later, but
for right now, that's what it's called. And today's question of the show is: if money wasn't an issue, don't even really think about logistically, if you could live anywhere in the world, where would you live?
Yeah. So I've told you this a couple of times, but I would say it goes against what this episode is called, but I would say Atlanta. I would say Atlanta, and I would say like if we could do basically build like a micro community. So imagine we need money, but like imagine we like bought some land. And people do it all the time. Like we see them. Like you'll be driving and you'll see like a neighborhood of like 3 houses, or like 4 houses. You like, it looks like a little mini neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to do something like that where we lived in Atlanta. We bought land, we subdivided it, and then so we had like 3 houses. Like we had a house, and then we could have like each of our parents, like your mama, my mama, live there, and then like imagine like the family gathering. So like people come from out of town. Now it's not necessarily everybody got to stay with us. It's like my brother come visit. He's staying at my mama's house.
No,
you see what I'm saying? Like
next door.
Or like yo people come, like your brother and whatever. They staying at your mama's house.
Right.
So like it's not like we gotta house everybody.
Right. I didn't think about that.
Everybody's still like on the same block essentially. Like it's kind of far, but like that would be like my we need a couple million.
Yeah.
But a couple million coming at some point. I'm
Period.
Yeah.
Period. It's on the way.
Yeah.
Okay, well.
What about you? If you
not nearly as thought out as, I think because we lived there, so you probably had to, just being there.
That was like
time to think.
That was like my dream because we was there by ourselves and shit. So that was just like my
Yeah, well, I don't want to be lame and say the exact same thing as you, but if I just threw something at the wall,
okay, it's about to be some wild.
It's about to be some bullshit.
It's about to be like Timbuktu.
I would just say Seattle.
Okay.
And that's probably just because we've been binging Grey's Anatomy.
Oh yeah.
And I think that city is just top of mind right now.
Yeah.
But I do know that first of all, it'd be raining over there a lot.
So you get your raincoat.
Get your raincoat, get your rain boots. I think it's really expensive to live there. But
top 5 most expensive city, I believe.
In the US. But nonetheless, I don't know. It seems like it could be a cool city. Not even just outside of Grey's or with Grey's, but I don't know, like some of the YouTubers we'll watch, like they live over there or frequent Seattle or something. Yeah. And it just be looking cool. Look like a cool place. Maybe just a cool place to visit and not live, but I'm going to just go with Seattle. That's my gut right now. Okay.
So speaking of places and all that stuff.
Yes.
So then how did to get into the meat of the episode, into the juicy. So then how did we end up in Atlanta in the first place for us to even move back, right? So like, how did that kind of sort of
So it's really you. I mean, you're the whole reason we ended up there, right? Like, and I don't want to steal your thunder, but I mean, essentially we were here after we graduated from college, and
tell the people that don't know, everybody just don't know.
So
like, we was born and raised.
So yeah, we was born and raised. We were born and raised here in Indianapolis, and then we went to school here in Indiana. We graduated in 2015, and then we were here for about a year until 2016 is when
it's safe to say that neither of us really was like. Cause we, you know what I mean, growing up in a place like this, a lot of people's main thing is like, oh, I'm moving to Cali, or I'm moving here, or you know what I mean. Like a lot of people.
We weren't really big,
but
like
we weren't
didn't have our hearts set on being like, as soon as we graduate, like as soon as we walk across the stage, type shit, like we gonna be gone on the first thing smoking.
Yeah, we wasn't one of those people. So
no, we were. It was fine.
But ultimately, what it came down to, so for those that don't know, I'm a designer by trade.
Yes.
And I wanted to work in sports. It's like that was like my like dream job, like my kind of like mission. And so we graduated. I got an internship with the Colts, the Indianapolis Colts, and that internship wasn't gonna turn into a full time. So now I had to like switch my thinking to be like, oh, well, the only other way I could work in sports here is to get on with the Pacers, and they wouldn't hire like at all. They still barely hire. So it was like, oh shit, I gotta like start looking outside of Indy. I had never thought, it never crossed my mind.
Yeah, like, because you only really have two options, sometimes one in some cities. NBA or NFL.
Right. Okay? Like Oklahoma City, they got an NBA team and no football team. You know what I mean? So it's like, all right. So the interesting part though, how it came about, I was applying to a bunch of places, but Atlanta really like stuck, really like hit us because we went down to SneakerCon. So I was a vendor. I'm selling like some artwork, whatever, like sneaker artwork, stuff like that. So we go down there, we set a table up. It was Big L's, by the way. But it's like a vlog that exists somewhere on the internet of like us, like that trip. And when we was coming back, I'm just like, dang, like, I could live here. It was nice.
And this is spring 2016.
Oh, yeah. The spring, like spring 2016.
Set up the timeline.
Yeah. And so from there, we get back. And I'm like, when I get in the office Monday, I'm going to check and see like what Atlanta talking about. And lo and behold, I get on there. The Hawks didn't have nothing, but the Falcons did. They had a role. I applied. I didn't hear nothing back for like 2 months. And I thought it was done. You know what I mean? I started interviewing for other places around.
Right.
Just because I needed some. And I got it. Moved down there after Thanksgiving of November 2016.
Crazy.
So that's how we kind of initially, like, that's how Atlanta happened. And then
Yep, and then I ended up staying in Indy for like 6 or 7 months longer.
Yep.
And then I was really waiting on my apartment lease to end because I had just moved into my apartment that summer of 2016. Yeah. So I had a 12-month lease, and so I was essentially just waiting to be like, I'm not renewing. And so then once I did that, I sold all my furniture in my apartment and I packed up my Hyundai Elantra. And I moved myself on down to Atlanta the following summer. So that was 2017.
Yeah.
So that's how we got down to Atlanta. So we ended up being there until the summer of 2023. Is that right?
2023. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Summer 23. And then we ended up back here in Indianapolis.
Fine, since we got back. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
And so like we was down there. So what was like, we'll call it 7 years?
Yeah.
Yeah, 7. So we was down there 7 years, 7 and some change. And oh man, what a time. We grew a lot.
Yeah, we did.
I think we needed that for sure. Like just for our relationship. Like that was really great for us to have to get outside our comfort zone.
Yeah.
So during that time while we was down there, when like did you actually start having the feelings of like kind of want to go back home or feeling homesick or like
yeah I think there were different moments that it kind of popped up for me. I think one is because my family isn't super big on like travel. So it's not like they visited
like
a whole lot. Yeah.
Like that, yeah.
So they didn't visit a whole lot. So there was that. But I think what helped to kind of combat that was that we on the back end, we visited home quite a bit.
Yeah, we did.
So I feel like that kind of like was the consolation prize. Like I can still see y'all, but it may not be because y'all are coming to me, I'm coming to y'all.
Yeah.
But so there was that. So that but that usually was like resolved after a visit. But I think really for me,
I will say that, yeah, like my family did frequent, like very often though. Like, like if somebody from your family visited maybe every 2-3 years, like type thing, like that, like no, like my family was coming like twice a year. Like whether my brother came on a visit and then my mama will come. Or like something like that, like, yeah. So it's I can see how that like after a while it's kind of like dang, like I well, actually real quick before you keep going, this is a little side question. So would you say, based on that, would you say you was feeling more of a homesick like for Indy, like the place, the city, or was it more so like I don't even know what to call it, like people sick,
right? Like family
you
sick.
was more so like craving the people and not necessarily like the city.
Yeah,
like,
I think it's the second one. I think it's more so the people. Okay. At the time, I think it was more so like I'm craving the people more. But then I think what really like solidified for me was like really want to be like, ooh, like I think I need to be home and when my grandmommy got sick and passed, unfortunately, in 2020. During the pandemic. Pandemic started happening in the US anyway, March 2020.
Yeah.
So that I think that's really what kind of did it for me. It was just I don't know, like obviously we know, and I'm not even gonna get into it, but we know death and everything is a part of life, but that was just somebody that, you know, one of the first people that I lost that was super close to me. So it was it was a hit. And so I was like, man, like that's wow. Like, I'm like, because you spend so much time with people and you don't even really realize how much time you spend with them until you're not 15, 20, 30 minutes away from them and can't just hop in the car and then you go from all of a sudden, dang, I see you 10 times a year to like once or twice.
Because you saw, because unfortunately she didn't even make it to our wedding, actually. That was the year I proposed that year.
Yes, and she knew about the proposal.
She passed
in that summer. Wedding. Yeah, we got married November. So she passed in August.
Yes.
So yeah, that was 2020 was obviously for everybody, but it was a really tough year. It was like so many highs and so many lows in 2020. So I think that's really what did it for me. What about you? When like you said, if and when, like did you have moments prior to us actually moving in 2023 where you like, I gotta get on back home?
Yeah, come back home, it took a while. I would say when we originally went down there, I didn't think we would be down there that long. Honestly, I thought it was gonna be a quick, maybe 2 to 3, and then it was gonna be on to the next move. Cause I was an NBA like type of nigga. Like even now, like I prefer the NBA over the NFL. But I think I had instances where I was ready to leave Atlanta to go somewhere else, but not come back home. Like not come back to Indy.
Right.
Because I don't think I was done writing that story yet. Like I really wanted to like let that chapter, that career part play out of working in sports. Because I knew that wasn't going to last forever either. Like I don't know, I just was just real intuitive with stuff like that. Like I knew that wasn't going to last forever. So it's like, let me get this out of my system. Let me do this while I can. And then, I mean, home ain't going nowhere. But I would say probably for real hit. I don't even know what winter that was. Was it winter? It was low key probably winter 2022. We moved in 23.
Yep.
So winter 2022, y'all. Yep. We came back up to Indy as we typically do for Christmas.
Yeah. And we did.
What happened, bro? I think so. At this point, I think. Oh, I remember now.
What happened?
It's coming back. It's coming back. Oh,
we haven't talked about this in a little bit.
I know, it's crazy. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I had thoughts about it because we had just got our new house.
Yes.
We didn't love it.
Yeah, we
didn't love everything.
We moved into a house in Atlanta
In a suburb, Atlanta suburb.
Yes, in the summer of 2022.
Yes.
And then so that winter, so a few months later.
Yeah, a few months later. So
here.
there was things we didn't love about this house for how much it cost. Like it was just missing things. And we came back, and I think I had looked. It was some housing division that was building here.
Yeah.
And I'm like, literally, this house is the same price as ours. That mug got an in-law suite. That mug on basement. It's this. I'm like, what? I'm like, we can get this. We can get. It was just so obvious how much more we can get for our money.
Yeah.
Here. And I think that was my first little inkling. You didn't believe. You was like, bro, you looking at indie houses. Like,
I thought you were cap. You was big cap. I was like, I don't know. My husband sometimes, you are a very, no, because like, the way your brain can sometimes go off into these deep rabbit holes and these tangents, and it's because you were creative. Like, not that I don't be believing you, but like sometimes I just be like, I just got to know. I just got to sit there and just listen sometimes. But it may not always come to anything. Like, but I still need to let you have that moment because that's just how your brain works. And so sometimes I just be like, okay, my love. Like, okay, Shay.
It's a little squirrely sometimes, but it make
a little squirrely.
It makes sense. Like it come together when it's time. But that was my first inkling. But also too, to add extra context, I was also interviewing at like 3 companies, bro.
Oh my God.
I was interviewing at Delta.
That shit was crazy.
I made it to the last round with them.
Oh my God.
Porsche. And then what was the last one?
Was it Rooms to Go?
Yeah.
Rooms to, and these are all Atlanta-based companies.
It was all Atlanta-based companies.
Yes.
And also none of the jobs would have been remote. They all would have been like hybrid.
Yeah. Like, so we would have had to stay. So that was kind of like, so would you say that was kind of like one of these jobs, like if one of these 3 jobs work out, then that's just gonna be the decision.
Then, we here.
That's gonna be the deciding factor.
For real here. Especially if I would have got Delta, we would have been using them flight benefits. Like we could have used them flight benefits to come back to Indy whenever. Yeah. And then we would So
but crazy enough.
Like the universe really kind of decided for us after all the interviews went through. Yeah. With like no offer.
Yeah.
Like
crazy.
So that kind of really like clicked for me, and I took that as a sign. And so we had went to, it was in April.
Yeah, April 2023. Now we moved on to the next year.
Like we be moving. And we went to the wine festival.
We went to Atlanta Wine Festival with a couple friends in Atlanta.
Who actually we know from Indy. It was crazy.
And they live there now too. Yeah.
And it was just weird. I don't know. It's just my gut just talked to me and just be like, hey. Like
I remember on the way there, we had a conversation. We were just kind of like, it just,
we got off the highway and we was in downtown trying to get to the parking garage. It was at, what's it called? The big warehouse thing. I can't even remember the name.
Oh, Ponce.
Yeah, it was at Ponce. I was trying to get to the parking garage.
Yeah.
And I just looked over at you. I was like, I think I'm ready to go.
Oh my God. That's
crazy.
Yeah. And so, I mean, also, so there was the whole not getting any of those jobs.
Yeah.
And then also too, at that point in April 2023, we're both 30 at that point. I had just turned 30.
Yeah.
We were both 30, and we had been having conversations about, you know, wanting to start a family. And so like that kind of takes us to like the next point of like some of the ultimate deciding factors
that went into it.
Yeah, that really was like
since we was talking about like how the career stuff played into it. Definitely at that point too. This is the first time me and you both had a remote job.
Yes,
that was a
that's
key.
a big part. That's
so
very
none of them
true.
other jobs came through, so I was still working at GM, that was a fully remote position.
And I had just got a fully remote job that previous summer. I don't want to confuse nobody, but going back to summer 2022, I had got a fully remote job. So that was a big thing because prior to that, I had all hybrid positions with Atlanta-based companies.
Yeah, so you was fully remote.
I was fully remote. So it was kind of like, I forgot about that. Yeah, like that was like a big deal. Like, that was like, damn, like we for real not tied to the city because of our jobs. Like we could for real be anywhere. Okay, so that was a big deciding factor. Because keeping it a buck, like you said, you were designed by trade. I work in corporate communications, and the options based in Indy,
it's non-existent.
The money wasn't talking about what it needed to be talking about. Like
the amount of positions, like amount of roles, is non-existent basically, and then the pay is like nowhere near close to what you could.
We would literally get on LinkedIn. type in a job title, and then put Atlanta, and then change it to Indy. And it would literally go from like 500 options to like 72. And then out of them 72, only like 10 was for real relevant.
Especially for yours, for comms. They'll put a job on there. It was talking about janitor. I'm like, bro, what you talking about, bro?
they would be on there talking about like grass cutter. I'm like, where bro, that's not even close. Yeah. So that was wild. So once we got the remote jobs,
that was the key right there.
That was a big like
that unlocked it for us.
Yeah, like that was a big deal. That was a big deal. And then us, getting older and knowing that we wanted to start a family. So we had that one deciding factor of the jobs, and then the second one was really like, okay, because not only so we're born and raised here, like we said, and then all of our family is here. Like we don't have family at all in Atlanta.
Yeah, both sides of our family is here, so
which is definitely a blessing, because obviously when you in a situation where families are in different places, it's like
people be having to choose.
Like you had to pick and choose, like
to choose which family to live closer to, or whatever.
And it sucks if those places are for real far apart. So anyway, we didn't have that situation. Everybody was here, so it was like we ain't ever been parents before. So if we, but it seemed like you need a village, and you seem like they don't need to be 8-9 hours away.
You need some help.
You need some help, and so that was a big deal. It was kind of like. Yeah. That,
and then I would say third thing in there was, again, me just thinking about our finances and stuff and trying to get our I think over time our value of $1 has changed. So we just wasn't okay with just kind of spending money on something that we wasn't all the way satisfied with.
Yeah, with the house, right?
With the house.
For sure.
So that was, I say, the third factor is like we could get way more house or a better house or whatever it may be. Coming back home.
And then we just kind of kicked things into gear. Like after we left that wine festival, like it literally, again, that was April 23.
23 weeks.
Just to fast forward it along, like we were back on road in a U-Haul on our way back up here by early June.
Yeah.
Like we quick. Put our like
we got approval from our managers.
Yep, right, that we cool. Like confirm that we could work and live in Indiana.
Found a realtor. Got the house up, listed, and sold. Got an offer like in a week.
Crazy offer. It was amazing.
Asking too crazy.
Shout out to her, because she was. Yeah, she did her. She was out here.
I mean, but shout out to us too though, because we did a bunch of DIYs.
Oh, that's true.
Stuff that made
our shit was looking
like custom. Like
that's true.
Because that motherfucker was.
It starts with us. Yeah. Like we was a team. Like. Us, the work we did, and then plus her, obviously her profession,
her going to market and having like connects and plugs, but
like, it really went crazy.
Yeah, it was quick. Like once we decided, it was
and so I mean, we sold our house, and then we were on our way back up here in June 2023.
So we've been back up here now
over a year.
Some change.
Yeah.
New house. We've had our daughter. How do we feel about the decision now?
Yeah. How do we feel about the decision now? I think it was a good decision. Overall, I think it has been really nice. Just little shit. Like, I think it's been really nice to, like, be able to, I don't know, just, you can have the occasional, you out somewhere and you run into somebody you know, or just being able to, you just kind of, like, do stuff like without overly having a plan. Like when we was in Atlanta,
we talked about that.
Like obviously, like we're not in the same place. So like if somebody's coming to visit or if we coming up here, like it was planned months out in advance usually. Yeah. And it just took away the spontaneity essentially because we're not in the same place. So you really do got to plan versus just being like on a Saturday or a weekday or something like. Yeah. Go over my mama house, your mama house, or get together with some friends, and then. So I definitely think it was the right decision from that, and it's been great with our baby. Yeah. And her just being able to be near her family. Yeah. That's been really nice. Like, so I think it was the right decision. What you think?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think it's been good. I think I've come to realize, because I asked you that question earlier about like, were you homesick or kind of more so people sick? And I would say it's been good being back close to family, being back close to our people. The city has also evolved too, though, so that's kind of cool too. Yeah, right. Like lots of new restaurants and like different stuff they doing in Indy. So that's nice too. Yeah, it's been good. It's been cool. I have no complaints. Like I said, I'm really able to go like just hoop now, and maybe that's a comfort level thing. But like just something as small as that. Like I
Yeah,
didn't really hoop that often when we was down in
you
Atlanta,
didn't
like at all
count on
actually.
one
Like
hand
yeah,
in the
one
whole
hand, like the
time.
whole 7 years, I would never just go pull up the hoop. But like here, I mean, I just go to the YMCA and just hoop. And like I said, maybe that's just a comfort level thing for me. Um, and then also, yeah, we had talked about how like everything just always kind of felt planned. Like it was never like, hey, what you doing?
Yeah.
Like we literally moved back and like, bro, like me and my brother just be up at the bowling alley bowling on a
Mm-hmm.
Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
Like kind of miss them,
Mm-hmm.
like you said, the spontaneity, like just them just random pull ups or whatever. Or
Yeah.
like, hey, what you doing? I'm over on this side of town. Like just
Yeah.
being able to pull up on somebody. Like
Yeah. And then, I mean, keeping in mind too, we not the only ones getting older.
yeah.
Like from that perspective, like our parents, our grandparents, and everybody, our siblings, everybody's getting older. And then not even just on that end of life, like getting older like that, but like also the younger people, our nieces and
Oh
nephews,
yeah.
they getting
Getting
older.
older.
And like
Yeah.
it definitely sucks to feel like you missing out or like they don't know you like that
Yeah.
because you know, like yeah, we got FaceTime and shit, but that don't be the same as being
It's
able to be
weird.
like, oh, my niece, your niece, or whoever got something going on in school, a little rehearsal, a little
Yeah.
performance. But like the odds of us being able to just pop back up here on a Thursday for that
Yeah, it was like nah.
it was just wasn't realistic.
Yeah, 8 hour drive for we did a couple times like, but an 8 hour drive for like every basketball game is a lot. Like you kind of just gotta
Yeah,
pick and
you can't come to
choose.
every ballet
Like
recital. Like
yeah, but yeah, yeah, like it's apparent that like my relationship with my oldest niece because I was younger when she was grown. I was here versus my nephew. Like it's apparent to me
yeah, I mean
because it
we have
wasn't
a
here. Like
yeah
he was literally born when we moved, so it's
yeah
like just don't have that same connection that
yeah.
I have with my older niece.
And
So
it's
yeah,
so funny because we have very, very similar situations. Like both of our
yeah, they
oldest
about like the
nieces
same.
about the same age, and we were obviously here. We were in high school
Yeah,
when they were born, and then versus our yo nephew and my youngest niece,
yeah,
like they were both born while we were in Atlanta.
crazy.
And so now our child is
Yeah,
screaming.
it's 8:22. Okay, okay.
Go see if she can get comforted.
Oh god.
So then, when we moved back, do you think there was any like or like when we started telling people rather like really sharing it with family and then we made it official,
Mm-hmm.
do you think there was like any embarrassment or like judgment from people being like we moving back home? Like do you think there was like you feel away or you think did it make you
No,
feel away? Like did you feel judged essentially?
no, because it was our choice.
Yes.
Yeah, nah. I would say I was conscious of that like in previous years. Like I said, like there was even a point, it was like what 2019 or maybe it was 2018 where like the Pacers was hiring and I put an app in just off like just like whatever. I'm gonna just at least put an app in. And they like called me for an interview. And I like backed out of it because I was like, I don't even want them to end up offering me this. And then I moved back home. Cause I was just like, I'm just not ready to go back home yet. Or I don't know, it was weird. But yeah, no, I didn't feel no yeah, I didn't feel like embarrassed.
So when you say because it was our choice, like what you mean by that?
Our choice as in well, because before that I had lost my job.
Mm-hmm.
I had got laid off due to COVID in 21.
Yeah.
And we was able to figure it out. Like we kept our house, we kept things afloat,
Oh,
and we
praise.
stayed down there.
Mm-hmm.
So I think like one of them situations where like, oh dang, like bro lost his job and like
That's why they moved
you gotta move back because of this or because somebody sick. That's the other part too, like having to move back home because of something wrong.
Yeah, something sad.
I think we had I think bro asked me that. I think one of our closer friends like from the Trace from the Wood. Like he asked, he like everything cool because he was like convinced like that was it. Like bro was like niggas ain't coming back.
Yeah,
because he done came down there to visit us a couple times. Like bro been down there. Like he like oh yeah they set. So
right.
when I told him, he like everything cool.
Yeah,
like, I'm like oh yeah it's cool. Like ain't nobody sick or nothing like that. Like it's
right.
my choice.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, I definitely found myself feeling like I needed to like overly validate, like really make that a point to like close friends and stuff, being like no, we cool. Like I'm really trying to make it make sense. Like really being like, this is the right time for us. And like, feel like we've done everything we needed to do in Atlanta right now at this point in our lives. So I definitely felt like I needed to, there was a part of me that felt like I needed to justify. That's the word I want to say. Like justify instead of just being like, we moving. But like, I also want to like,
now I think about
prove myself or something, which I shouldn't have felt like that. But
I probably justified a little bit.
Yeah, I definitely felt like I was justifying to people, even though it was our choice. Like I definitely like I was like trying to like really prove a point and like convince people that we was making the right decision.
Yeah,
which
I probably did a little bit too.
Yeah,
more so from like that chapter is like. Yeah, like you said, we kind of done everything that
we needed to do,
set out to do. So
right now in Atlanta, and then there was the other part of I'm not pregnant because that was definitely another component.
Yeah, which you wasn't when we moved.
I was not pregnant when we moved in June. Like we moved back like June 7th or 8th or something.
Yeah, you wasn't.
I was not pregnant. It happened close, but I was not
immediately
pregnant.
after.
It was in July when I got pregnant, but was not pregnant. So that was like while that was like a deciding factor in terms of like we want to start a family. I was not already pregnant.
Yeah, but that was just the universe.
That's crazy.
We got back.
It's crazy how it happened.
Like,
but
boom. But yeah,
crazy. But yeah. And then finally, so I mean, you kind of said it in the question of the show at the beginning. Like the final thing is, would we ever move back? And I think I just know the answer to yours.
Oh, I mean, but that's a different question though.
Okay,
would we move back? I think
just us.
Just us?
And not being able to move family. Like, does that change? Go ahead.
Well, okay. My brain interprets that a little bit different. Will we ever move back? I think there's a window. Or actually, I think there's a main reason.
Okay.
Especially now, we kind of looking at daycares and stuff. And like, as our daughter grow up, I think my main thing is just making sure that she's around more diverse groups of people, and I'm not necessarily sure Indy provides that all the way. Like we live out here in this suburb, and I don't know. I don't want her to just kind of mainly only grow up around middle class, successful like white people.
Yeah, that's fair.
I would like her to also see that, like, because I think that was my main thing I love about Atlanta was the black middle class. Yeah. And how, like, you be at a stoplight, you'll see, like, auntie got a Jaguar, or, like, this person owned this business or whatever. Like, there's multiple generations of money, of black money in Atlanta. Yeah. And that really changed a lot of my perspective and how I see the world and what I think I'm capable of doing. Yeah. And so I just want her to be able to see that too. And so I think that I do have a fear that if I start to see that things are, like, a little too mayonnaise around here, like for her, like going to school and stuff, like her class, she the token, like, you know what I mean? Like I don't want that for her, and then so I'm probably gonna like have to like pick us up and like move us somewhere that has more. Yeah, like, that's
definitely a big thing. It's like,
and real quick, I'm gonna say real quick, and I think there's a window though.
Oh, okay, yeah. What's the window?
Like I think there's a window between like 3rd and 6th grade where you kind of got to make that move. Okay. You don't want them to get in middle school, because your middle school friends be your high school friends. Yeah, in most cases, yeah. Move them in middle school. That's rough. So I think it's somewhere in that like 3rd, 4th, 5th grade. Like you could start over from elementary friends. You don't have to have elementary friends, but middle school friends, some of them stick around through high school and beyond and stuff like that. So I think there's like a window.
Yeah, we both definitely have a lot of people we met in middle school that we. Even, we ain't got to be besties, but we still even keep in contact with, even if it's a little bit, but not so much elementary. Yeah. No, I think that I definitely agree with that first point of like, you have to think about everything so differently once you become a parent. And that is a big one. Like, we have a black child, like, and we are very into her knowing like that she's black and being proud of her, that she's black. And so definitely want her to grow up and be around, like you said, diverse groups of people, and having black friends, and having having a sense of pride about who she is, and seeing different types of black people. So Yeah, definitely want her. That definitely would be a big one if we
like,
really just seem
I
like.
don't think I've said that out loud to you.
I
It's just been
don't
something I've
know.
like been thinking about here and there. But
Yeah, but I mean,
that's
I agree with that. Like,
yeah.
it's important that she's well rounded. Not even just in like her friend groups and everything, but just like, just I think that'll just have her be a well rounded person.
Yeah.
Um,
As perspective.
yeah, it
You know what I
definitely adds
mean? Like,
perspective.
yeah, it just adds perspective. Like
Yeah.
to be at a cool little restaurant. He's saying we taking her 5-star dining or nothing, but just to be at a cool little restaurant. I mean, remember when we went though? We went for SneakerCon, and it was so vivid in my brain of like when we left the convention, we just went over to like a restaurant that was nearby, and we was in there, bro, and it was literally like 60-70% black people in
Yeah.
there, and everybody in there just having a good time
Yeah.
eating, and that was just we don't have that in Indy. Like it's just not like that. Like we go somewhere to like I don't know what's the place.
I don't even know.
We go to Whoopty Whoop.
Go to Olive Garden. I don't know.
Like not Olive Garden.
Why not Olive Garden? I don't know.
What?
What's wrong with Olive Garden?
You supposed to say something fire like what's that mug on Firebirds or something like that.
Oh,
Like
okay.
there, you know what I mean? We go like Firebirds and it's like maybe like us and like one other black couple. You know what I mean? Like it just be
you just see a lot of black people everywhere you turn in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And we love that. So yeah, I think there is a point in time where because
I mean,
again,
also too I think we out of this like young age where we need a lot of help and we kind of in a point where like they're a little more independent, like it's kind of a little more, you know what I mean? Like I think it's like a good if we was gonna do it, I think then like once we get out of this like toddler key, you know what I mean? Like,
super young stage. Yeah, I mean, and so I think there definitely is a point in time that it could make sense for us to move back to Atlanta, especially like we said, it's not like we left on bad terms, on bad blood. Like, thankfully, it was nothing traumatic or nothing like that. So I definitely think there's a point where it can make sense. I mean, for me, it's not like I'm fantasizing about getting back though. Like, it's not something that I'm like, man, like if we don't do it, I'm gonna be feeling like I failed or something, or I'm gonna feel like I missed out on something in life. We can visit that mug as much as we want to, but so for me, I definitely think there's a point in time where it makes sense and I'm open to it. But I'm not like looking at stuff on Zillow on a regular and nothing like that. Like it's cool. However it happens, it'll happen if it's supposed to happen. So, okay. So all that said,
that's our story.
That's our story of how we born and raised here, moved to Atlanta for 7 years.
Yeah.
And made our way back home.
Yeah. And I mean, just to say to the people, ain't nothing wrong with that. Like, or just my camera right here. Ain't nothing wrong with that, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Go out, explore. And then home ain't going nowhere.
Home ain't going nowhere.
Go back home.
Yeah.
If it makes sense. Like,
and you ain't gotta worry my camera turn. Like you ain't gotta worry about what people gonna think. Like just because you make a decision to move somewhere, like if you gotta come back home, whether it's your choice or not, like at the end of the day, you gotta do what makes sense for you. And if you have the opportunity to like move outside your home state, 10 out of 10, highly recommend.
Yeah.
And just do it. Cause I mean, fuck it. We all just out here figuring it out. So like, why not? Like if you can do it.
Yeah.
Like
and
that's that.
All right.
Till next time.
First
episode's done.
Yeah.
So glad y'all joined us.
Okay. That's it. We're gonna do more, I guess. Yeah.
More where that came from. All right. Peace.
All right, y'all. We see y'all on the next one, man. Peace.